Hello and welcome to this session on an overview of measurement and evaluation. As we have seen from previous units, imparting knowledge to students using the right tools, methods and techniques is one of the major aspects of instruction. An equally important aspect of instruction is the valuation of the capacities of students and the effectiveness of instruction at regular intervals of time. This helps an instructor ascertain if the objectives of instructions are achieved or not. This unit will introduce two important concepts associated with the process of valuation, namely measurement and evaluation. We will discuss these concepts in some detail and understand the meanings and definitions of each of these with the help of some examples. We will also attempt to understand the differences between the two, even though they are interrelated processes. By the end of this unit, you will be able to state the meaning and definitions of the concept of measurement in education, state the meaning and definition of the concept of evaluation in education, comprehend the importance of measurement in education, distinguish clearly between quantitative and qualitative judgment, state the differences between measurement and evaluation, and state the major principles of evaluation. Now, let us begin with the concepts of educational evaluation and measurement and analyze what each of these concepts entails. Measurement and evaluation in education. It is a common mistake to use the terms measurement and evaluation interchangeably and synonymously. They in fact refer to two different processes with different meanings, functions, phases and principles. However, it should be noted that they share certain common features as well. What is measurement? Suppose you want to know what the length, breadth and width of a book are. How would you find that out? You would take a measuring tape and find out what the length, breadth and width of the book are. This is the process of measurement. Measurement can be defined as the process through which we ascertain the quantity of something. In other words, the amount of something is counted or measured in the process of measurement. Through this process, we assign a numerical value to the things or phenomena we measure. Stanley Smith Stevens, a scientist best known for his works on the levels of measurement, defines measurement as the assignment of numerals to events or objects according to rules. Measuring the length or width of a book involves physical measurement, which is quite different from the kind of measurements we do in education. It is important here to remember that educational measurement is a more complex process than physical measurement because it involves the mental process of a learner. These mental processes are not visible and they might vary according to how a learner behaves in certain situations. In a classroom, if you need to determine the performance of a student, you first need to get the quantitative measures on the individual scores of that student. Let us take another example. You conduct a mathematics test in the class and a student scores 70 marks in the test. This information, however, does not help you make any further interpretations or judgments. You cannot say if the student has passed or failed in the exam. You cannot know if the student is among the top scorers or if he or she performed poorly or extremely well in the test. That is to say, measurement stops at ascertaining the quantity and assigning a numerical index to a thing or phenomenon. We cannot make any value judgment on the performance of the learner based on the information obtained through measurement. This is where the process of educational evaluation becomes important. What is evaluation? Evaluation in simple terms is measurement with value judgment. Let us consider our last example once again. We have seen that it is impossible to ascertain whether a student's performance is satisfactory or unsatisfactory based solely on the marks he or she scored. An interpretation or value judgment is possible only if we do it on the basis of what is expected or place it in the context of the larger picture. Let us assume that the student scored 70 marks out of 100 marks. Then the measurement becomes clearer and more specific. However, it is still impossible to make an accurate judgment of the performance and achievement of the student. On a general scale, it appears that 70 out of 100 is good and satisfactory. But what if the purpose of the test was to ascertain if the student has 100% mastery of the subject? Then 70 out of 100 clearly is not a satisfactory score. Any value judgment of the performance and achievements of a learner should be made against a set of predetermined objectives and goals. In other words, you can make a value judgment of the educational performance of a student by analyzing how far the student was successful in realizing the set predetermined objectives and anticipated goals. This value judgment is called evaluation. Let us consider two more examples to know the difference between these two. Using a tape or a similar tool, you calculate the height, breadth and width of a book. This is measurement. After analyzing the numbers obtained, you make a judgment that the book is too big to be contained in a handbag, that is evaluation. You calculate the size of a classroom by measuring its length, breadth, etc. Then you make judgment based on the measures that the classroom is too small to hold a conference of 100 students. The former is measurement while the latter is evaluation. As it is evident from this definition, the process of evaluation is not as the same as measurement. In education, measurement involves quantitative judgment of the educational performance of a learner. Evaluation, on the other hand, has a qualitative element as well. In evaluation, the judgment is made based on the degree of realization of educational objectives. However, it does not mean that evaluation does not have a quantitative aspect to it. It certainly involves measurement, but the results are interpreted qualitatively against the objectives and goals. Educational evaluation is carried out periodically to determine the effectiveness of a program in terms of the behavioral outputs of students. It also helps to identify the strengths and weaknesses of students in acquiring desired objectives and to rectify the weaknesses. Quantitative versus qualitative. We often come across two important terms in relation to any kind of judgment or valuation, especially in the field of education and research: qualitative and quantitative. The term qualitative involves mental processes, habits, traits, tendencies and likings of a person, while quantitative is concerned with the measurement of objects and things. The latter is used mainly in physical sciences, while the former is used in behavioral sciences. Here are some of the major differences between quantitative and qualitative judgments. There is a 0 point in quantitative judgment. We measure quantities against this 0 point, but in qualitative judgment there is no 0 point. Instead, we have a standard or norm against which a person or phenomenon is judged. In quantitative measurement, units are fundamental. Moreover, the units have definite value. Qualitative judgment, on the other hand, does not use any fundamental units, but they are to be derived. Additionally, the units are of indefinite value. Using quantitative measurement, we can measure the entire quantity of something, while qualitative measurement does not allow us to measure something in its entirety. In the latter, only a sample can be measured. Quantitative is absolute and objective. On the other hand, qualitative is relative and subjective. The data obtained through quantitative measurement are interpreted directly, but the data obtained through qualitative measurement are raw and meaningless. They have to be interpreted after transforming them into standard scores. There are fixed tools for carrying out quantitative measurement. Qualitative measurement, on the other hand, does not have any fixed standard or final tool or instrument. 3 steps of measurement. Measurement in any field usually has 3 commonly followed steps. They are: the quality or attribute that has to be measured should be identified and defined in the first step. In order to measure that quality or attribute, it has to be made perceivable and manifest. In the second step, a set of operations are determined by which the quality or attribute may become manifest and perceivable. Measurement results in a set of observation. In the third step, a set of procedures and definitions are established so as to translate these observations. Using these procedures and definitions, observations can be transformed into quantitative statements of degree or amount. Types of measurement. Measurement can be divided into three broad categories: direct measurement, indirect measurement and relative measurement. Direct measurement refers to the process of measuring exactly the thing that is to be measured. Indirect measurement refers to the process of measuring a thing by measuring something else. For example, to find the length of a book, you need to measure the book directly using an appropriate and valid tool. This is an example of direct measurement. But let us look at another example. Calculate the core body temperature by calculating the temperature of other body areas. This is an example of indirect measurement. Suppose 2000 people came to watch an IPL match held in Cochin. The number of people at the stadium can be calculated in two ways. The first method is to count the people as and when they enter the stadium. The second method is to count the number of tickets sold, which will tell you the number of people who came to watch the match. The former is an example of direct measurement, while the latter is an example of indirect measurement. But the intelligence of a student cannot be measured through either of these methods. This would require us to use a third method, namely relative measurement. The score obtained by the student in a test or exam is to be compared with norms. All educational and psychological measurements are generally relative in nature. Differences between measurement and evaluation. As we have already seen, measurement and evaluation are two different processes, though they share some common features. Here is a comparison between measurement and evaluation. Measurement is quantitative. It does not account for factors such as purpose, past, future, etc. That is to say, measurement can be done at any moment without making references to past or future. Evaluation is qualitative as well as quantitative and has an element of value judgment attached to it. It takes into account other factors such as purpose, past and future. When we evaluate a student or a program, we take into consideration previous results as well as a set of anticipated objectives established in the past. In the broader sense of the term, measurement answers the question how much, while evaluation answers the question how good. The nature of measurement is objective and impersonal. The standards and methods of measurement do not change for different individuals. Evaluation is subjective as well as personal to a considerable extent. When we evaluate a student, a number of personal factors are taken into consideration. Measurement is characterized by precision and scientific nature. Evaluation is interpretive and philosophical. Measurement is not a continuous process, but is occasional. For example, you conduct tests and exams to measure the achievement of a student only occasionally. Evaluation is a continuous process carried out through examinations, tests, observations, sociometry and other techniques. Measurement does not depend on evaluation, but evaluation is dependent on measurement. In other words, measurement is a precondition for evaluation. Measurement has a limited scope while evaluation has an unlimited scope. Measurement is chiefly used to obtain data. Evaluation is process where the data obtained is interpreted. Measurement tools do not provide data on many educational factors. Evaluation attempts to cover all aspects of education. Principles of evaluation. Educational evaluation is carried out on the basis of certain principles. Here are some of the major principles of evaluation. The underlying objectives have to be clearly defined and identified prior to the commencement of evaluation process. Learning experiences have an important role to play in evaluation. Hence, evaluation should be based on the learning objectives of the curriculum. Evaluation, as we have already stated, should be a continuous process rather than a one-time activity. compared to one-time test or examination. Data collected and evaluated over a prolonged period of time serves as a more reliable as well as valid indicator of a student's achievements and performance. A teacher should attempt to make evaluation as comprehensive as possible. Both scholastic and non-scholastic skills of students should be involved in this process. Evaluation should be comprehensive in use of evaluation techniques and tools. We need different techniques and tools to assess different skills and aptitudes of students. Therefore, instead of using a one size fit all tool or technique, teachers should include a variety of techniques in the process of evaluation. The selection of evaluation techniques should be done in terms of the objectives to be achieved. In other words, all evaluation devices and techniques should be reliable and valid. Education evaluation should not only be about testing the student's knowledge or ability to memorize. Other aspects of knowledge such as originality, use of ideas, application of knowledge and skills, etc., should also be given adequate attention. A teacher should conduct evaluation not only to judge the skills, knowledge and aptitude of students, but also as a forward looking process that provides guidelines for improvement and progress in future. Evaluation should involve systematic collection of qualitative as well as quantitative data. It should also involve careful interpretation of the collected data. What are evaluated in an educational system? The basic principles of evaluation remains the same regardless of what is being evaluated. Depending upon the difference in the things that are subjected to evaluation, different types of data are collected, different criteria are applied to the data and different decisions are made. The most common evaluation in education is the evaluation of students. However, certain other aspects are also evaluated in education in an attempt to enhance the process of learning and instruction. Here is a list of things that are evaluated in education. Evaluation of students. One of the most important variables on which a student is evaluated is his or her achievements. Other common variables are the aptitude, intelligence, personality, attitudes and interests of a student. Evaluation of students is done through a number of techniques including achievement tests, projects, oral presentations, formal and informal observations, etc. A teacher can use the performance data of students not only to evaluate them, but also to evaluate his or her own instruction. That is, the process of evaluating students provides feedback to the teacher, which helps the teacher take important decisions on future instructional activities. After the evaluation process, decisions are made which have a direct impact on the student. While the teacher has the autonomy to take some decisions, he or she is not involved or makes only recommendations in others. Evaluation of curriculum. Another important kind of evaluation done in education is that of curriculum. It involves the evaluation of instructional programs, instructional materials such as textbooks, audiovisual materials, etc. Further, it may involve either the whole of the curriculum or a small component of it. Both internal and external criteria are used for evaluating the effectiveness of a curriculum. Each curriculum is introduced with a set of objectives. Internal evaluation analyzes whether the curriculum was successful in fulfilling those objectives. In external evaluation, a particular curriculum or product is compared to another product or curriculum to ascertain which is better suited to students. Like in student evaluation, the achievements of students are considered during the evaluation of a curriculum. However, it should be noted that comparing the effectiveness of two curriculum is not an easy process because each of them might have been designed with different sets of objectives. Evaluation of school or educational institution. The evaluation of a school or education institution usually aims to evaluate all aspects related to its functioning and the educational programs conducted by the school. The aim of such an evaluation is to examine whether the school meets the anticipated objectives. It also aims to identify which are the areas of weakness and strength in the educational program. The data collected during the process help to take important decisions regarding future activities of the school, the allocation of resources, etc. The process of evaluating a school is quite different from that of evaluating students. It is usually done by combining a number of evaluation tools and techniques such as questionnaires, interviews, observation, data collection, etc. Evaluation of an educational community or population. Imagine that the government introduced a new educational program in schools across the state. How is the effectiveness of that program evaluated? It can be done by evaluating the students in one class or school. Instead, the current status and the educational progress of a large number of students should be evaluated in this case. The most important point to be noted here is that this student population is distributed over a large geographic region. A major aim of such statewide evaluation is to provide the state and decision makers with information regarding the effectiveness of educational programs. Other educational evaluations. Evaluation of special programs and evaluation of personnel are also important to enhance education. Special programs are not part of regular educational programs. They are organized efforts which are usually innovative in nature. These programs are introduced to complement the regular curriculum. There are a number of persons who are involved in the system of education and responsible for the success of instructional objectives either directly or indirectly. This group includes teachers, administrators, counselors and other staff related to education. They are usually evaluated using a combination of techniques and tools and by collecting data from different sources. Education evaluation is carried out through a number of phases and it serves a number of functions. There are two types of evaluation, namely formative and summative. Moreover, instructional objectives are central to any successful evaluation process. We will learn more about the phases, types and functions of evaluation in the next unit. Let me summarize what we have discussed so far. Evaluation and measurement are two key components of instruction. Evaluation of students should be done periodically to assess the progress of students and the effectiveness of instruction. Even though many people wrongly use the terms measurement and evaluation as synonyms, they denote two different processes in education. Measurement is the process of ascertaining the quantity of a thing. It assigns numerical index to a thing or a phenomenon. Evaluation, on the other hand, has an element of value judgment attached to it. Measurement is a precondition for evaluation. In education, students are evaluated on the basis of the instructional objectives anticipated. In other words, the degree of realization of instructional objectives is evaluated. It can be defined as a process of determining the degree to which the objectives of a program have been achieved. Evaluation and measurement share some common features, but there are a number of differences between the two. Measurement is objective, quantitative, impersonal, precise, scientific, occasional and independent of evaluation. Evaluation is subjective, qualitative as well as quantitative, personal, interpretative, philosophical, continuous and of unlimited scope. Measurement is a prerequisite to evaluation. Evaluation of students is the most common type of evaluation done in education. However, a number of other aspects such as curriculum, educational program, institution, large population etc. can also be evaluated. Depending on what is being evaluated, the tools and techniques differ. Now, you can try to answer the questions given here. What is measurement? How is physical measurement different from the kind of measurement we do in education? Measurement is independent of evaluation, but a prerequisite to evaluation. Explain this statement using examples. What is the difference between direct and indirect measurement? What are the steps in measurement? What is evaluation in education? Now, you can go through the reference books given here. Education in India, Problems and Perspectives, written by -M, published by Atlantic Publishers, New Delhi in the year 2000. Modern Trends in Indian Education, written by Mohandi J, published by Deep and Deep Publications, New Delhi in the year 2004. Educational Measurement and Evaluation, written by Rani J.S., published by Discovery Publishing House, New Delhi in the year 2004. New Approaches to Measurement and Evaluation, written by Sidhu K.S., published by Sterling Publishers Private Limited, New Delhi in the year 2005. Thank you for watching this program. We can meet again with another topic. Have a nice day.